Pointless school rules.
This year, the genius lawmakers in Texas had the brilliant idea
What'd
to
they do?
completely ban phones in school. Of all the useless rules that we have to follow in school, this one might actually take the cake. Personal telecommunication devices may not be used at any time during the school day. This includes classrooms, passing periods, restrooms, at lunch, or in any other common areas on campus.
I don't know how much I hate that. I don't know, because I can imagine. Because when I was in school back in the day, you know, like 2010, like we were creeping in on our phones. So I can only imagine now, like people are really on their phones all the time. I can really imagine like people has their phone in their desk just scrolling on their phone. So I don't think that's that big of a deal.
Basically, get ready to bring your PSPs, 3DSs, Game Boys, and of course your game.com.
But that's what they're saying. Like, don't bring anything. That's the
To
point.
school. Bro, what is that? My mom teaches high school, and she was telling me the other day how she supported the ban, saying that phones are a distraction. I was like, Mom, banning phones isn't gonna magically make students start paying attention. Kids who don't want to pay attention are always going to find ways to distract themselves. You know how I know that?
Yes, but if you make it harder for them to distract themselves, it makes them more inclined to pay attention. It's easy for everyone to get distracted by a phone. You take that phone away, now they find a different ways to distract themselves without disturbing other people, and that's a lot harder. So I don't.
Because I was one of those kids. Back when I was in middle school in the ancient year of 2018, my school instituted a phone ban because the students in my school were scoring the lowest of any middle school in the district on average.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was pretty ghetto. But the administrators thought if we ban phones, they'll have nothing left to do but pay attention in their classes. Now, back in middle school, I never paid attention in class. Not because I was a bad student, but because I was one of the few good students in my grade. But the material was so boring and stuff that I already knew that I'd rather be playing Jetpack Joyride on my phone
He
or
literally
sending
just like that video we just watched about like levels of intelligence. Like he's literally like so smart that he just everything felt slow to him. It's literally the exact video we just watched.
dog filter Snapchats to my friends, then relearn the Pythagorean theorem for the 40th time. But after the phone ban came, no more Jetpack Joyride, no more dog filters. I had to sit in class as my teacher droned on in the front. Have you ever gotten so genuinely bored that you start tearing up? That happened to me multiple times after the ban, listening to these mundane concepts that I already knew. And the dumbest part is, all of the bad students didn't magically start paying attention and getting A's. They just became more disruptive in class and started acting out more because they didn't have their phone to keep them occupied. It was literally a loss for everyone. Luckily, once I got to high school...
Do you have any like thing to prove that? Like, did you go back and check your middle school's overall production and if it was any improvement? Because I wouldn't be surprised if there was a little edge, like, you know what I'm saying, you got that little 2% bump. I wouldn't be surprised.
School, I was free from that stupidity, but this year it's back for everyone. I was at the gym the other day talking to a guy who goes to the high school I graduated from about the phone ban, and he was telling me that it sucks. He says that school is way more boring and isolating now because he can't communicate with his friends unless they're literally in the same vicinity of him. Also, everyone just goes to their cars during lunch so they can...
They're like, man, how did y'all deal with this in the 90s? In the early 2000s, how did y'all go through school with no phones? Y'all talk to y'all classmates? Like, come on, bro. It's not that bad. It's really not that bad, bro. It's not that bad, bro. That just lets you know, like, we have a problem as a society. We have a chronic problem. We can't put the phone down.
Finally go on their phones. Is that really better than the way that it was before? I mean, I don't disagree that phones can be distracting in school, but I think outright banning them from campus doesn't fix anything for students or teachers. Banning phones makes almost as little sense as super soaker attack drills, if you catch my drift. First off, the fact that these even exist is insane to me. Super soaker attacks have gotten so prevalent in school that we literally need a drill for it, yet lawmakers think banning phones is a bigger priority. But the drills themselves are literally the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Oh, someone has a super soaker on campus. Let's all hide in the same corner of the classroom. That way, when they burst through the door, we can make it easy for them. Listen, I'm not telling you what to do, but if someone brought a super soaker to campus when I was in school, I am booking it off campus.
So the problem with booking it off campus is that you could get mistaken as the perpetrator and you could be the one who got shot. You know what I mean? It's in the same realm of, let's say everyone had a gun, right? Let's say you're in the park, everyone carries a gun and one person shoots someone else. So everyone's like, oh, let me defend myself by using my gun. Now everyone has their gun out and nobody knows who the perpetrator is. It's kind of like, that's what I see. It's a way to split yourself away from who the perpetrator could be. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, I understand the school drill isn't the most effective, but literally what else would you do in a school drill? Like, let's think about it. You can't just say, oh, everyone, let's leave the class and run. That makes you an easy target. It also would confuse anybody else who's trying to help the situation, right? Should you all not be in the same corner? Maybe, but you have to also think that person who's coming in the school, he does not know when every class is going to be filled, right? So there could be an off chance that a certain class could be empty and they're like, maybe it actually is empty because classes aren't filled all the time. Certain classes go during certain periods. So I don't think there's a better way, to be honest, for a school drill. I don't think there's a better way. It's just the only option we have isn't that good.
As quickly as possible, preferably with 2 or 3 of my homies. That way we have a fighting chance if we run into the guy. I am not
We have a fighting chance against the gun, mind you. I want to run with 3 friends because we might have a fighting chance against the gun. Oh my gosh.
Around in a campus,
and apparently there might be police waiting outside. That's also true. Like there's a lot of variables, and when you think about these situations in a singular person standpoint and not like in schools, there could be thousands of people in a school. When you break it down to only a singular person, it sounds like it's very easy and something simple to solve, but when you have hundreds of other people to account for, it's not that simple.
Being target practice in the corner of a room. The weird thing is, the longer I was in school, the more I felt like a super soaker attack was a real possibility. Like my senior year, it got to the point where I was like, okay, just gotta make it to October. Okay, now it's October, just make it to January. Yeah. Okay, now that's January. Yeah. Like, please let me just make it to March. And eventually,
and that's just the thing now. Like now, every if you go in school in America, you go to school knowing like, hey, someone might actually pull up, and then people be joking about it so much that you don't know who's actually making a joke or who's being for real.
It was just, okay, please let me make it to the end of graduation and I'm free. And even at the graduation ceremony, I was looking around like, please God, let me survive this. I want to make out with at least one girl in a college dorm before I die. And I survived and proceeded to make out with a girl in a college dorm, so appreciate that, G. But yeah, the drills, they gotta go. They're clearly there to give off the illusion of safety without accomplishing anything. Just like wearing ID badges. They started enforcing this sometime when I was in high school, and it literally might be the most useless thing we were ever forced to do. Teachers were like, we need to identify everyone on campus in case of an event of danger. And it's like, bitch, what is an ID gonna do to stop anything? The only thing wearing IDs accomplished was ruining every fit you wore and being hella itchy around.
Do any of y'all have IDs? Do any of y'all have to rock IDs?
Your neck. Plus, whatever printer they used to make our IDs was the most incompetent piece of technology ever, because everyone who had brown skin just turned out orange, and I was out here getting roasted by my friends because this racist broken ass machine. I can't think of a single legitimate argument for enforcing IDs other than giving students a tool to cut up their Kool-Aid with whenever they snort it. Being forced to wear IDs annoyed me a little bit, but it was nothing compared to taking final exams exams. I'm in university now, and final exams make sense for college courses because the entire course is based around like 3 exams. But back in high school, it felt like it was just this AIDS monster that was hanging over you the entire semester. Like, I would do so much work on the in-class assignments, homework, quizzes, tests throughout the semester, but then 20% of my grade would be the final exam. So if you bombed that test, your grade could go from a 97 to an 85 real quick. The
97 to an 85. But if you were like really that locked in, like the final test is a breeze though. You know what I mean? Like if you were really locked in though,
worst was in classes like history and psychology that were all memorizing terms and dates. Cause whenever we took the unit tests, I would spend the entire night before cramming, memorizing as many terms as possible, take the test, and then forget everything immediately. Because that's how those tests are set up. They're not tests of understanding, they're tests of memorization. So by the time the final exams came around, I would essentially have to relearn everything by
like, how else are you gonna learn history though? Like, isn't history only like memorization? Like you have that's history. Like math you could figure out just by, I guess, looking at a problem. You're like, okay, this correlates with this. But as memorization is basically smarts, to be honest.
Myself in the days leading
like, how good can you remember this, and then you have to continue off of your memory. So
to it, Crash Course History came in clutch more times than I can remember. The worst part is final exams are a district policy because I had a friend who lived the city over and he didn't have to do any final exams throughout high school at all. All y'all
that's crazy.
From Frisco, Texas. First off, some of you are actual degens, I'm not gonna lie. And second off, you don't realize how lucky you were that you didn't have to do final exams in high school. That was just a looming pressure that was constantly there in the back of my mind. The only time I didn't take final exams was second semester of my senior year because there was this policy where any senior who had above an 85 in an AP class was exempt from taking the exam. But it's not like we could go home or hang out with our friends. Everyone who was exempt from the exam had to sit in the gym during the time period that they would be taking the exam, which made literally no sense. But on the last day of school during my senior year, when they finally let us out of the gym, me and my friends and some other students all went to Krispy Kreme because they had this special where they were giving out a free dozen donuts to every graduating student.
Yes, I remember that. It wasn't a dozen, we got 1 donut. I don't know how they gave y'all a dozen. We got a singular donut, but I remember that. How is he devouring these
out of the gym?
Donuts like
Me
this?
and my friends and some other students went to Krispy Kreme because they had this special where they were giving out a free dozen donuts to every graduating student. Shout out to Krispy Kreme for that. That's a big G move. So we all went to Krispy Kreme and the workers were handing out donuts to all of us. And then one of the kids in our group, and for some reason I will always remember this, he walks up to the counter and says, "Don't you want to check my ID to make sure that I'm actually graduating?" And then he pulls out his school ID and shows it to the worker without them even asking. Something about that really
was that not like, are they on reset? Was that not unironically them doing
me
it
off, and
like,
for whatever reason I still frequently think about it. Anyways, those were some annoying school rules that I had to follow. I'm sure your schools have some really pointless ones that you have to follow.
I'm not really mad at some of the rules that he was upset about, to be honest. Like phone bans, I mean, there was life before phones. If you're in class, how much does being on your phone really help you in class? You know, besides distracting you, like that's all it's there is literally just a distraction. We need to fix attention spans. That's what really the problem is. The attention spans needs to be fixed. The school shooting drills, I don't think there's many ways to have a better school shooting drill. There's not that many options. There really isn't, because of what you have to stay in the classroom. So what else would you do besides try to block the door in the classroom, make it look like y'all are not there? There's nothing else you can do. The test thing, I don't know. I think tests, you can give a good or bad reason for tests. I don't think it's that big of a deal either or though. I mean, you have to take a test in almost anything in life. So I think it's just preparing you for that. Like, no matter how much you study, for everything you do, like you need to pass the test. So I think it's preparing you for that in life. So I don't think having the end of the year test is that big of a deal. because that is real. If you could study 6 months for an exam for you want to get your, I don't know, real estate license or something, and you choke on that test. Like none of the studying matters. So I don't think that's that big of a deal either. But hey, regardless, Roddy, thank you for the video.